something that I see people struggling with a lot lately has been deep squat, or at least their ability to get into the deep squat. And what I mean by that is, hopefully there's enough angle that you can see, is to be able to squat right down, stay upright, and sit there, and be quite comfortable in this position. Now I see a couple of different things. People struggle, they get about halfway, they just can't go further. They lean over a lot, maybe their knees start to collapse in towards each other. So this is going to be what's referred to as valgus collapse or melting candle syndrome. As your knees collapse in, generally that's caused by tight adductors. The muscles that are on the inner thighs really are too tight. They're pulling the knees in towards each other. Plus the glutes are weak because the glutes are going to externally rotate those legs. The important thing to remember with the external rotation is it doesn't happen from the feet, it happens from the hips. So if you're trying to keep those knees apart, don't just set your feet out at 45 or even greater angles so that your knees splay outwards. You're going to plant your feet firmly into the ground and you're going to rotate from the hips. So as I squat down, I can still push my knees out and sit down into that squat. So there's going to be a couple of tips that's going to help you get down into that position. Okay, there's a couple of stretches that you can do that's going to help get you into that deep squat position. And we're going to go up against the wall to do these stretches because your body's going to be in a much more relaxed position up against the wall. So this is what I'm going to do. I start running against the wall so that I can spin around, my hips are touching the wall, and bring my feet down into what would be a deep squat position. Get my arms inside, and I'm going to push those knees outwards. Just get yourself into as much of a squat position as you can. Press those knees out and hold that stretch. Hold that stretch for 30 seconds at least, maybe up to 2 minutes at a time. That's one stretch you can do up against the wall. Second stretch, I'm going to have my feet up and I'm just going to let them drop down as much as possible. Maybe encourage them with my hands a little bit. And just let gravity take control. And we're going to stay in that stretch for, again, anything from 30 seconds to 2 minutes at a time. Again, relax out of that. And you can just repeat those stretches a few times. Another very good stretch that you can do to help get into that deep squat is a standing pigeon pose. So pigeon pose like you might do in yoga. And what I'm going to do is you need a table or massage bed, something like that, something that's high up enough so you can get a high position and just hold that stretch. And again, hold this for 30 seconds, 60 seconds, 2 minutes maybe on one side. And get into position and stretch it on both sides. So I'll just show you from a different angle the position that I'm getting myself into. There. Keeping that knee down. It's going to want to come up. Keep it down in that standing position. Again, one side and then the other side. 30 seconds, 60 seconds, 2 minutes. See how long you can hold it for. Get that stretch going. Okay, if you have a foam roller, you can use a foam roller, which is really going to help you in your squat. One of the things you can use it for is literally just a stretch. So I put the foam roller on the ground, get myself on the roller, and stretch my back. So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to drop my hips to the floor and my shoulders to the floor, and just let that foam roller arch my back. That's going to provide a good stretch. What I can also do is roll through the hip flexor, just this crease here at the hips. But when I do so, I'm going to focus on one side at a time, and then the other side. This is what it's going to look like. I want to get my hip flexor onto the foam roller and nothing else. My hands are on the ground, I'm leaning in towards my left. And back. Okay, one of the ways that you can get down into that deep squat, or at least you can test your range of motion and see whether or not your body will actually allow you to get into that deep squat, is by taking some of the strain out of your knees. Now you can use straps. You can use something like, I've got a War Machine over here, or a TRX. But one of the easiest things that you can use is just a pole, something that you can hold on to. If you've got a door, just open the door, grab the handle on each side, hold on to that, sit back into your squat, and sit down, and see how low down you can get into that position. And then getting back out of that, you can assist with your hands. When you grab onto the pole, make sure you grab low, and that way, as you sit back and sit down into that, you can sit all the way down and stretch. If you find that you get into this sort of position, you can just keep practicing. Do this every day. Eventually you're going to get lower, 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 and you can sit down into that. And that's a good way of testing whether or not you actually have that range of motion to be able to squat there. But keep working at it, and you will increase that range of motion. Another method that you can use to help get yourself into that squat position is, or just to practice that squat, is a goblet squat. So I'm going to use the kettlebell, hold the handles, clamp onto it with my forearms. From here, keep it close to my body, but sit down, spread my knees, sit into that, and drive back up, squeeze the glutes at the top. Spread my knees, keep my chest up, drive up, shoulders first, squeeze my butt at the top. One of the reasons why goblet squat is going to help you is because you have that weight in the front as a counterbalance. If you don't have that weight, sometimes people are going to lean over very far into that squat to try and get down low. That's not the point. We want to stay upright. But you're going to feel like you're going to fall over backwards. You need some weight in front to counterbalance your body weight. So if you have a kettlebell, that's perfect. You're just going to sit in front, sit, drive up. Show you a different angle. Spread my knees out, sit, and drive up. Another method that I use, which is quite similar, is just literally stretching down, grab onto the front of my feet, and I'm going to pull my hips down behind me. I'm actually going to use my hamstrings and my glutes. I'm going to use the strength of my legs to pull my hips down. As I pull them down, my arms will stay straight. My knees will push to the outside, and I sit myself down into that deep squat. From here, I can use my elbows, push my knees out, move myself around a little bit, find a position that's comfortable. Once you find a position that you can sit in, and you feel relatively comfortable, this is your squat. Up and down. Following on from the goblet squats, another method of helping you with your squat is a wall squat. And this is going to help keep your body upright because it forces you into a position where you can't lean forwards. So basically all it is a squat, but you're going to be facing the wall. Bring your toes up against the wall. If you can't do it with your toes up against the wall to start with, maybe a couple of inches away and gradually work yourself closer into the wall. Arms going to be out to the side. You want your arm facing forward because you're not going to squat like this. When you do your squat, you want to face forwards. As you get better at that, if you want to keep practicing, make it a little bit tougher, just bring your feet together and you're going to find it's going to get much harder very, very quickly. Okay, well there you have it. There's some tips on improving your squatting technique, improving your deep squatting technique. One of the things you need to remember is that the squat is an important human movement. You should be able to do it. If you cannot squat, don't bother loading your squat with weight. Get that movement correctly. So if you're attending a kettlebell class, or if you're hitting the gym, whatever you're actually doing, if you cannot squat properly, don't load it with weight. Don't add strength to dysfunction. All you're doing is you're adding weight, you're building it onto a deck of cards, really. So if your squat is like this, Putting weight on top of that is a recipe for disaster. Leave the weights to one side. Keep practicing. Improve your squat. When you have a good squat, when your technique is good, load it with weight and make it stronger. Okay, give that a go. Let me know how you get on.